So cute.
Let me get.
Hey,
Simon.
Hey guys.
Betty.
Eddie.
how are we all?
Good.
Surviving.
How are you doing, Ebs?
Good, really good.
Yeah. What, are you 5 now?
Yeah. One more week.
Aw.
One more week to 6.
Yay.
Oh,
Yay. So exciting.
How's baby Nev?
He's good. I actually just had him in, but I just got rid of it.
Oh no!
oh, bring him back.
Oh, look at Paul Dream's background. Fancy man.
It's always like that. It's what the back of my house looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
Hey.
We're already recording, Serena.
Oh.
We're waiting for one more, aren't we?
There's just Jo.
Joey?
What did she say about her?
Joe's doing a quiz call at the same time. She's got a Zoom quiz on right now, so she couldn't make it, sadly.
Well,
I
it's
thought
just
she was
because it's
doing
you.
us a quiz. How rude. I was like, I see quiz. I'm always going to have some fun.
Did anyone do the Netball England
Let's
quiz on
get on here.
Instagram?
I
No,
can't
I
write
didn't.
it.
No. I wasn't confident with some of my answers, so I was like, skip.
How many did you get? You got one.
No, I just said next.
It's really great to see you all. But Joe's made
I
it.
want to say hi. I've got trivia at the moment and I'm being late. So I'm just saying hello. Well done for winning gold medal 2 years ago. I love you all. So cool. I just want to see everyone. Hi, Colette, Paul, Jiva, God, Nat, Eb, Jade, Tio. Yeah.
What's your Zoom number? Let us crash your quiz.
Isn't it?
If I thought that you were going to help me win, I'd let you crash, but this group, absolutely not. Okay, bye everyone. Sorry, I'm sorry. Love you all.
Bye, Joey.
Trace! Bye.
Hand over to Tracy.
I don't think winning the Commonwealth Games final fully sunk in until I saw Serena walking around the disco with a big load of ostrich around them. I thought, if you're going to do that when you win, what are you going to do when you lose? What were your thoughts, Serena?
Well, it wasn't an ostrich. It was actually a unicorn, Tracy. He had like a winner's horn, just like up his head. But yeah, I think I was literally so tired after that last game. I needed the ostrich for support, for like emotional, mental support to get me around the club that night. So people were just holding my ostrich and walking me around. It was great.
Pretty sure someone walked you off the game because you're cramping as well. So
Well, I walked myself
you were already checked out before we won.
Couldn't take the pace.
No. When you explain what happened and you say, oh, it was just cramp, and they look at you like, what? And it's like, yeah, just cramp. Sorry.
You want to tell everyone how you celebrated straight after that Commonwealth Games final? I just have vivid memories of this, of everyone else being taken to the beach and you being left behind.
Me?
Jade!
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. I got drugs tested. So was it after the medal ceremony? We got to do the medal ceremony, and then I had to wait and do my drugs test, and everyone else I was watching everyone. Emma was putting people in the sea. Everyone's jumping around the beach doing interviews. And then me and Tracy jumped in a taxi and sped down to meet everyone. But when we got to the team, it was a really nice moment.
Guys, remember when the BBC brought us all at McDonald's?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Beth had about 6 burgers. I had so many burgers. I was so hungry.
Really good advert for an athlete.
McDonald's.
That was the first bit of meat I had in so long. I was like, yes.
Final. which one have you read social media, and can anyone recount any of the good positive messages that we had, or press reports that really hit a nerve or really stood out to you leading into that final?
I remember reading lots of messages on Twitter saying people were crying or screaming at the TV. They'd woken up like the whole household because they were cheering so loudly, and they've never seen anything like it. They were so emotional about it. So I remember seeing them at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then they wake up again at 9 o'clock, and they were like desperate to watch the repeat. So I think that was quite a bit like humbling, because like they literally woke up and they were so committed to supporting us even at that early time in the morning.
Yeah, I think we were in our little bubble, weren't we, before? And then we didn't realise how many people at home were actually watching. And then it was just like, when the guys that were on the plane coming home, like we didn't realise people were going to be at the airport to meet us, and how many people like got off in the middle of the night, like you're saying, Ev. It was just like so nice, like knowing the nation like was behind us.
It was nice watching some of the videos and flashbacks today. I know I've definitely watched the gold medal final, but I actually haven't watched the semi-final, and to watch the last sort of 2-3 minutes today, my hands were my palms were sweaty, just like I was nervous wreck, I was hot. It was just, I was so anxious watching it, even though I knew the result. I was like, oh my gosh, they scored again, and they're still 30 seconds to go.
It was Jade's contact on the edge of the circle that got me again.
Oh, I just watched that clip. You got the ball, Janie, you got the ball.
Someone knocking at my door.
Postman!
So obviously we had just from your personal point of view, what were the key messages that they sent you? What was important for your family and friends?
Oh, it's really cool.
I didn't have a.
I'm going to mute.
Mute, hold on.
All day, Paul.
Hi, a bit late to the party.
This is the weirdest Zoom call ever.
Right. Okay, so what message did you receive from family and friends, and how amazing was it to have supportive messages from Nicola Adams, Dylan Hartley, and even Ali Brownlee as well? Jodie. Names now.
It was so special, I think, for me as well. I had so many teachers that I've not seen since primary school and high school kind of message me and say, oh my gosh, I see you on the TV playing, and just have so many people reach out to us and just kind of share that moment with us, and all throughout the Commonwealth Games journey. And I think to have those incredible athletes, and especially Nicola Adams and all those athletes who have won Olympic golds and achieved so much in their careers, to kind of reach out to us a message and send their well wishes was really special.
Especially David Beckham to Helen Housby.
David Beckham,
oh my
yeah,
God.
Helen.
I'll forget that one.
I wish that was a congrats. Of course you do.
So we remember when I was in the bus and we thought it was a troll. I didn't think it was him. I thought it was someone like impersonating.
Oh, yeah.
We were in the bus on the way to the beach. I was like, oh my God, David Beckham's just commenting. I was like, nah, like someone fake. And then, I started crying.
Yeah, you did.
I think Helen liked that more than getting the gold medal, getting a message from David Beckham.
Literally, made my life. I can die happy.
It's the only one she's ever replied to, Serena. Okay, we have a few Australian residents on this particular call. So Tanya, Chelsea, Jiva. What was it like to play Australia? What were the feelings going into that final? No one playing Australia in your home country on your own territory. Tanya, let's hit you first.
You guys had been, I'd been with the team, nearly 12 months by then. And in all honesty, it was weird the very first time that I was with you guys and we played against Australia. But come that Commonwealth Games final, it was another match. And it was one that I sort of thought, we could win if we put it out there. And it just became another game. And I was very... invested in this team, just like you had really included me in the past 12 months. So for me, you know, it was just about this team going out there and winning the match.
From a player's point of view, Chelsea, Jiva, what was it like from your end? You've got a few best friends in the team.
I think for me, it felt like a bit like netball had just become a Disney movie, with how surreal it was and for us, all Disney characters, because it just was surreal. And I think for me, I just remember thinking I wasn't nearly as nervous as I was for the semi-final, because that's a do or die. You don't know what tomorrow is, but it was literally like, there's no tomorrow, this is it. So you can just play netball and stick to the game plan. And I still get goosebumps talking about it. And like I said, bittersweet that we did it on their home turf.
And I think for me personally, I felt like I was in a bit of a bubble with you girls and the whole team, right the way through every game that we played. And then when it got to that game, it was just another, yes, we were nervous the night before, and Ebony and I didn't actually get much sleep because we were so anxious. But it was another game, and the fact that I was in this such tight bubble with you girls, that when we stepped on court, when that whistle went, we just knew the job that we had to do. And for me, it was slightly different afterwards, and knowing once we had won, because I was playing for a team in Queensland. So I literally then, my home was travelling 2 hours up the road and joining a team where I had the Australian Diamonds attack line of Caitlin Bassett and Steph Wood in my team as well. And so I literally took my medal, put it by the side of my bed, went into training literally a week later, and didn't try to mention too much of what had happened. So it was a really weird scenario, and particularly hearing some of the girls when they flew home and were greeted by loads of fans and everything. For us Aussie girls that were based in Australia, we kind of went back to the job that we were doing and kind of held our chests high, but didn't rave about it too much, because we were on Aussie soil still.
So from a captain point of view, Anna, obviously you've got a team that have done something that England Netball have not achieved since 1975. What were the pressures on you leading this herd of athletes on that Saturday night? What were the key things for you from a captain point of view?
Probably stopping people wearing unicorns during the game. I think I was just quite stressed about just going into the village and making sure that we all stuck to task. Because I know we don't really get to do any other multi-sport games, and so it's almost like the biggest multidisciplinary thing for us netballers. So I think just trying to keep everybody on the straight and narrow, but I think everyone was really good, and we did have our own little bubble. And then I think also another thing in terms of other sports finishing earlier than netball, because we start kind of at the beginning and finish almost at the end. And so just hoping that we didn't get distracted. But the girls were really good, and we did literally just take every game as it came, and I think we prepared really well, just focusing on each opponent as they came up.
Now, there was some rumours going around, Sarah Symington, that one particular board member was crying at half-time of the Jamaica down the Jamaica game when we were down by 10. Was that actually a fact? And was that you?
It wasn't me. But I can say it is fact.
What name which one that was?
I can't possibly comment, Tracy, but a lot of my time was spent calming others around me rather than actually going, watch the game, let it play out. They're doing well. They are going to do this. Because I believe me, from the day one all the way through to the end, I knew these guys or you guys were going to do what you did.
Oh. Right, so there's always drama going into every game with the Roses, I always felt, particularly over 5 years. And the most key particular drama for me was the Helen Housby. And I think it takes you two a lot of explaining about why I'm going to the most important TV and I get thrown out by the doctor. So I think we need some explanation.
Oh my God.
Right? Right. I can't remember what day it was. What day was it?
Wasn't it just before the semi-final? Was it the day before the semi-final or something like that? Yeah. Day before the semi-final.
We came back into our room and it smelled like vomit. We came back into our room and it smelled like vomit. And we had, was it Kitty came into the room? I can't remember how it went down. And then we got sent downstairs and we got put in a room with the doctors. And the doctor came in and was asking if either of us had vomited or if anyone had been sick. And me and Nat, we were like at each other's throats, like, I haven't been sick. Have you been sick? Like, I have not been sick. Like, have you been sick in that room? We hadn't. There was chocolate milk under my bed. I'd had drink. It was like protein stuff. There was chocolate milk under my bed that had gone off. And then once we got out of the isolation room that they put us in, we got put in separate rooms with like plastic sheets on the floor. Couldn't see anybody. And then once we got back into the room, we found the chocolate milk and threw it in the bin.
We were like evident. We were evident that we hadn't been sick, but and then Kitty was like, "There's photo evidence." So me and Helen were like, "Bring us the photos."
Meanwhile, everyone else in the flat was suffering this horrific stink throughout.
We're all blaming Helen. We're all blaming Helen. She's lying.
We all blame Helen.
Yeah. The doctor was like, "It's definitely one of you. Like, you've got to decide between you two who it was." And I was like, "It wasn't
we
me.
were literally
It was
like
Helen."
shouting at each other. It's so good.
Oh god.
We're forgetting the drama of Bob forgetting stuff for games as well. Like there was other things that caused stress. Your dress,
Wrong dress. Always got the wrong dress.
Sarah Symington trained for her running half marathon.
You literally just kicked your like runners off just before running out to a game. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks for getting my shoes for me. Literally.
Sorry about that.
It's fine. It's just you. Very unique.
Tanya wrote me a list after the second time I forgot something. She was like, right, every day, look at this list. Got everything in your bag. I was like, okay.
What about the puzzle that we did and we completed it by the end?
Oh yeah, and then you ordered the picture like you roll people's heads at the end.
That was the best distraction. Every night we just will be obsessively doing this jigsaw to take our mind off the nerves. Well, it worked. And you were doing like a game on the iPad now.
Yeah.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Yeah. And then do you remember when Joe would always be like, "Nat, if you don't do 10 push-ups, we're not going to win a gold medal." And started doing it. I know. I locked her out of the apartment once, and she's like, "If you don't open this door in the next 5 seconds, we're not going to win a gold medal." So I was doing everything.
Now that she was torturing you.
And I did everything, and then we won a gold medal.
Thanks, Nat.
You've never been in a semi-final before, so that was obviously Beth, Jodie and Nat. So we'll start with you, Beth. What was the feeling like for you, obviously having contributed to that semi-final and final, and coming in as a newbie to that team?
What my feeling going into the final, sorry?
Yeah, or to the semi-final to achieve this with the Roses.
I think on the semi-final, I think I felt different to the rest of the team because I think semi-finals everyone felt nervous, and then final people were more relaxed. But I think I felt a bit the other way around, really. But God, it was just like it was so exciting. I think it's kind of nice being fresh into it because you don't really have as much sort of expectation as what some other people will have had. So yeah, I think it was just trying to embrace every minute of it, and yeah, I just loved it. It was awesome.
And Nat, you were like our Duracell buddy in that semi-final. Remembering that Claire and Tanya could remember how we were like, we need some energy in this court. There was seemed to be a lot of nerves, and you went on like a Duracell bunny. What were your feelings when you got the call and said, "Nat, you're going on at goal attack"?
Probably at first I was like, oh my god, I'm going on. But then when we started playing, like I was just dead excited. Like I've always wanted to go to Commonwealth Games, so I was like, oh my god, like I'm playing in a semi-final. It was just epic, and I was pretty similar to Beth in the sense of I remember the changing room in the semi-final being really quiet, and every game before that it had been really like loud and everyone's been dancing. And then actually the semi-final felt really nervy, like in the warm-up it felt nervy. But then actually when we were playing, I was just like, oh, we're just playing netball. Like I just found it really fun. And I just really wanted to win because I remember everyone talking about what happened in Glasgow the 4 years before. So I think I'd never wanted to win like for a team as much ever in my life. So I just really wanted to win for everyone.
From a bench point of view, Colette and Paul, What did you think the feeling in the camp were?
You going, Paul?
Go for it, Colette.
I just think there was immense belief that we could do it, and I think that was really evident in the Jamaica game, where 10 goals down, we could have folded, but the belief that everybody had in each other. And I remember Jodie going on for those few minutes just before half time, which is, I'm going on, oh my God. But the belief that the team had in her to do the job that we needed her to do. And I just always felt that, that belief would bring us through.
What about you, Paul? Obviously, you're on the periphery, you're organising the team.
Do you know what? The semi-final was really, really strange, because I remember it really clearly, actually, because going into it, I but like everyone has said, it was a process we were going through, and I remember saying to Sarah a few days in, like, we were ticking off each of the games, and it just felt like that we were just going to go through this process and just win every game, and it just felt like that was happening. And then I didn't ever contemplate anything else. And then the semi-final, when it started to go, when it was bad at half time, I remember looking around the changing rooms, and Amber had made those picture frames for you all that were framed in a frame that said family. And then it just went through my head. And then I remember in the third and fourth quarter, when the comeback was on, all I could picture and all I could keep saying in my head was family. They're going to get through this. Family. And it just, honestly, it's really surreal, but it exactly happened to me. And I just knew and I sensed that the team was going to get through it because of that togetherness and everything that had been built over those few weeks. And I just remember that really clearly.
So, Amma, probably one of the most inspirational captains, and you know, leading into that Commonwealth final, taking the team there. And I think one of the key things that stood out was the messaging that you put on the changing room wall, and also made you late to the warm-up court. Do you want to talk people through, like, what you did before games, obviously leading up to that Commonwealth Games final, and to be fair, the inspirational legacy that you've left to other captains going forward about how you like to prepare the team?
I think when I got the captaincy, I just wanted to show the girls that they were appreciated, and there's not much money in netball, so just giving a little gift, just to bring the team together, but show that we are one and we're united and they are valued. And so I think leading into the games, I'd always given a little gift. And so Com Games was hard because usually I'd either plan what I was going to get, and then before each game I'd go out and get the thing, but I had to plan ahead. So I just sort of thought about every team that we were playing and tried to get a gift that was relevant. And sometimes the night before or a few days before, I'd commandeer Fred to help me, like, paint things or make things or do things. And yeah, I think the night before the final, everybody wasn't really sleeping, and I think I was quite stressed by the fact that people weren't doing their normal routine, getting the same amount of sleep that they would get eating all the same things. And then I knew that I had to prepare something, and so that quote, one of my friends had told me years and years ago, and so it just came to my mind, and it was almost like, well, we've done all the hard work, we're here now, so we might as well go for broke. And so, yeah, also I do remember a training match in New Zealand, and we got to the court late. We came late out for the changing room, and Tracy, you went mad at me afterwards. And I was like, oh no! And so I think there was a tussle of, we need to do this, we're taking a long time, we're going to be late to the warm-up court. But I think actually being late to the warm-up court was a good distraction, so then people were less nervous, because it was almost like, quick, we just have to get there, Tracy's going to fill up for you. So that was part of it.
Well, I remember it well, because I was right in the middle of it all. Tracy was yelling at me because she wanted you out on the court. You were yelling at me because you needed me to put stuff up in the changing rooms. I was stuck in the middle of it all, and I didn't know what to do.
Always listen to me, Paul.
Well, I did, didn't I? I got in trouble with Tracy. The look she had in her face when you did come out, the way she looked at me, blimey.
You're still there to tell the tale, though, Paul.
Just about.
Still in that position, so you're fine.
No, in all seriousness, that quote that you did on the day of the final, that if not you, who, if not now, when, was just epic. I thought, like the way you all got to hold a letter each and go and stick it on the wall. Like I can remember it so vividly, and I just thought like that was brilliant. It was so good. Like it still like resonates with us now.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah.
I remember it took us a while though to work out what you were saying.
The best spellers. Got numbers on the back of the paper.
Yeah, it was like the perfect task. It was great.
Dot to dot spelling.
I'm gonna go to each person. We're gonna assess each quarter of that final and what your thoughts were around it, if you can remember. So, the first quarter, Kadeen, what were your thoughts around that particular final?
I just felt like we just needed to start strong, and if we stick together and stick with the game plan, I think everything will just go through its course. But you can see everyone was a bit nervous but excited at the same time. We were all saying we've never been here before, so there's nothing really to lose, so just go out and play how we know we can play. And I think the 7 that started and completely like stormed away from the first quarter, so I thought, you know, I had that total belief that 7 was gonna start strong and complete what we knew we needed to complete in the first quarter to lead us into the next.
Okay, Ebony, second quarter.
I just remember feeling, you could definitely tell that the pressure was building, but you could also tell that they were really, really nervous. Like the amount of passes they were having to make before the ball got into the circle, you definitely just kind of had that sense of feeling like, we can do this. It's more about sticking to the game plan, being clear about what our roles were, and just keeping the communication. I just remember talking. We didn't know necessarily what we were saying to each other. I think in terms of just feeling really comforted, and that again, that level of togetherness. So I think building through the second quarter, I thought it was just, again, we were so much in the game, we were in the moment, and it was more about just continuing to apply that pressure, and hopefully coming away with being on top towards the end of the quarter.
What about you, Serena, third quarter?
I think by the third quarter, we could kind of start to feel. I remember Emma saying at half time, saying like, we're in their heads, like we've rattled some cages, and I think the whole team could kind of feel that the Aussies really weren't comfortable. And whilst it was really a tight game, we were winning the match because of the energy out there. The energy felt like it was always in our favour. And I remember the third quarter, I remember our defence again just being so stellar throughout the whole court. Even though we'd go up by a few, down by a few, you kind of felt that we were the more comfortable team, kind of just going goal for goal, toe for toe, chipping away at them. And yeah, I just remember feeling really relaxed, to be honest with you. It just felt just so normal for us to be out there as a group. And that was a really comfortable feeling despite the pressure of the game. So yeah, third quarter, probably cramping a little bit personally, but generally feeling as a team.
I think fourth quarter needs to be summed up probably by Jiva, when that ball went off the back line, and obviously by Helen winning the winning shots. So, Jiva, do you want to start off about what your feelings were when that ball was going down towards Caitlin Bassett?
I think both Ebs and Serena summed it up well in terms of we just felt like we were really in a good click and we felt really comfortable about what our plan was to do out there. And I think the ball came down and I even felt comfortable enough to have a little tempt out the circle and a crack at something and thought, I'm not going to get that. So then retreated back because probably Ebony was screaming at me to get back in the circle. And then the ball was obviously flung around a bit. And then when it went up and off that back line, I just remember seeing it coming off Bass's hands, and I'm like, she's taller than me, there's no way I touched that, so I confidently ran off to get it. And and then when I stood up to that back line, we're still in our zone, and my main job was, and knowing that goalkeepers don't have the best passing skills, was just to get the ball to the next person and make sure I was a good option to back up. I knew Colette was on the sideline, probably staring me down, making sure I'm driving in the right spot, and did my job, hand it on to the next person, and we worked it down the court. It wasn't pretty. There's probably a few cross courts in there as well. But I think it was one of Joe's balls that really opened it up down to the attack end, and I'll let Helen take over that last little bit.
Yeah, talking about the fourth quarter, I think similar to what Bob and Jiva said, it felt like we were in control, even though it was a hectic game and it was going goal for goal. I think there's something about this team that I've never really felt before, and like the passion and the grit that we showed that day, and it never really felt like we were going to lose it. And it was almost like as long as we kept within reach. I think it felt like we're always going to have a moment to win it. And yeah, I think the defense in that last quarter really forced them to make errors. And to be honest, I think that's why we won it. And then yeah, going down to the last seconds, Joey put the ball up and I took the rebound. But it was kind of nice to like swap the favours, because that's what happened the day before in the semi-final. I missed the shot and she took the rebound to win it. So it was kind of nice to give each other both of that. But yeah, I don't really remember much about the last shot. I remember thinking, don't miss it. It kind of felt like it stood still a little bit. It felt like forever because there was an obstruction. It felt like I was stood there for ages waiting for the ball. But yeah, I just kind of went back to what I know, just shooting. And yeah, it probably wasn't the prettiest shot. It just bobbled in, but I'll take it any day. And then yeah, the celebrations were pretty good. Jumped on Jiva, probably broke a few ribs. But yeah, that was probably the best feeling I've ever had playing netball.
The jumping on Jiva part?
I think there was like, come at me.
Yeah. It was like, come on.
Cuddles.
Obviously, there's lots of experiences. What were your like experiences or lasting experiences of the village? Was there anything in the village that you know actually added to this journey that we'd obviously been on, or was there anything between yourselves that you did that was special? Do you want to start off, Serena?
Could you repeat that, Trace? Sorry.
Open your ears, Bob.
Sorry.
Your lasting overall experience of you know, that from that particular thing, and you know, does everyone have a lasting overall experience? My particular lasting overall experience was that it felt that we did everything as a team. It felt that on that last night, it was really nice, even though we were all shattered, that we were all together having a drink. The saddest part for me was that we all exited at 10 o'clock the next day and never saw each other again until, I think it was just before Christmas. But Chelsea, obviously you weren't there at that, and it just feels that this is the first time, even though Joe was only in for a little bit, that we've all been together. So just from you guys, I'm going to go around you all, a lasting experience from that particular time.
Should I still go first? No, I think you're right, Trace. I think it did feel really weird because we achieved the best thing that an England netball team has ever achieved, and then like all just had to kind of split and go away. So it's really nice to have this call and to hear everyone's, you know, experiences, and it's been like a really nice reminisce, I suppose, and kind of get together talking about what we did that day as a group. I think for me, biggest experience, I just think it's just the most together we've ever felt, and I think it's not just that competition. I think like the journey through that competition, like we went through a lot as a group. Like there's a lot of downs, the quad series loss to South Africa, the coming in and training our butts off in centralized camps that we've done in like, you know, in the kind of pre-prep before going out and stuff like that. And yeah, I think just that whole experience, like even like now we've not spoken about it, but when we lost to Giants and Swifts by like 40 goals, okay, I mean now I'm going to go to the Commonwealth Games. There's so many things and different levels and chapters to that whole experience. And yeah, and for me, I think Paul kind of summed it up. It was like a really family experiences. There was arguments, that it wasn't always pretty. There was a lot of friction. There was a lot of nerves and anxiety. But for me, the juice was definitely worth the squeeze, and I'd do it again at a drop of a hat any day to get that result again. So yeah, it's a pretty motivating experience, not just for the people on this call, but I think for everybody else now wanting to be heroes, for the nation, for the supporting fans, for just everyone that's involved in netball. So yeah.
Anyone else?
I think she summed it up.
Yeah, I think she sums it up very well.
Thanks, Serena.
Okay.
There's a first for everything then.
If you to reflect back on that particular time, was there anything you particularly would have done differently leading into that event or during that event?
No.
Our journey was, I think our journey was the right journey. We started off rocky and we ended up in the best possible position England has ever come across. So I think that journey was exactly what we needed, and that's exactly what we are. We're very unique, and I think that's the unique journey that we had just had all together.
The only thing I'd say is probably sleep the night before, because we were literally so excited in our bed, like we were like, I can't believe it's gonna be the final tomorrow. And we probably only had about 3 or 4 hours sleep before we like got up. So I probably just sleep a little bit more, just so.
I just love the fact how, like, our room, and particularly Eds and I were sharing, our room was pitch black, we're laying there, we're going quiet because we said goodnight to each other, and then 5 minutes later we go, oh, he's going to wait. Then we're like,
What about from a management point of view?
I wouldn't tell you what I would say, Tracy. If I could do it all again, I wouldn't ask Joe, or wouldn't dare Joe to throw the ball at me as hard as she can.
You broke your finger. Broke your finger.
It was quite a painful moment, that was. It was pretty horrible.
Oh, that's great. I remember that now.
I think the challenge was actually doing the same thing that we'd done all the way through, because it's really easy to get through the semi-final, which somebody said earlier is the one that is tricky, and get to the final and then suddenly do something different. But what we did was we stuck to the structure that we'd had all the way through, and the consistency, I think, made us have that belief that we could do it.
I probably would prep for the Uganda game a little bit differently, by the way, girls. I'll admit that.
It's all a part of the journey, Tracy. A favourite memory of mine is when we got the end on vision in the last, like, Helen shot right at the very end, and we had the end, like Rich's the end on vision. And I think I watched that, and I watched every individual to see what they were doing. And I know Beth didn't even watch the goal. She was looking at Jiva. Ebony was there, and then she turned into playing Kiss Chasey. She just started running after people and trying to grab them. The head coach, I've watched a lot of those games over my time of watching netball, and I've never seen a head coach slide on their knees onto the court, kiss the court, go to the heavens. Oh, I've never seen that, and that was one of my favourite memories, was just re-watching that last shot, and then the 20 seconds of absolute mayhem that went afterwards, watching everyone's individual response to the goal. I thought Nat was going to wet her pants. Joe didn't know what had happened. Yeah, that was a real favourite memory.
We can't end this call without, obviously only a handful of us went back to England after that gold medal final, but we can't end it for you guys not to sum up the feeling you had and that particular 10 days after you arrived back in the UK. And I think it'd be really good now for you to sum up, you know, about the fans and the supporters, family, friends, that experience when you got home.
It was so surreal, only because when we were on the plane, they had told us we can't come off the plane. So we had to wait.
Immigration, like
before we could leave. And Paul was like, no, just stay still, put your medal on. And we were like, okay. So then I remember me and Nat went into the cockpit to take a picture. And then just that whole walk, getting our bag, we were like, come on, bags, come on, get off the thing. So I just remember just walking out when everyone's like, have you got your bags? Yeah, okay, let's go. And then literally, we just thought it was going to be news report. That was it. And then we just heard the cheering of the primary school. Then we saw Tyler Sue, like, just on the side. I was like, she drove away to London just to see us as well. So it was amazing, just and everyone just getting the roses, actual roses in our hands and taking those pictures and having those little interviews. But it was epic. I don't think we didn't even realize how much our nation was so behind us because we were so much in our bubble.
Any other thoughts from other people?
I think it was just really humbling just to know the level of support, a bit like what Kadeen just said. We've been in such a bubble, not only for the 2 weeks of the Commonwealth Games, but obviously the pre-camp beforehand for the 3 weeks. So to be one step removed from everyone who'd been through the journey with us on English soil, and just to see it right in front of us, and like netball's never experienced that kind of level of support. So I think it was such a shame that all 12 of us couldn't necessarily come home and enjoy that experience, but to see it on, like, we were on like front of the broadsheets, national news, everyone was reporting on it and just saying that they believed in us and that they were so proud of us and how we've flown the flag for women's sport in general, and how we'd inspired not only their daughters but grandparents, women in general and men, to either perceive netball in a completely different way or try and pick up and like actually start playing netball, or to watch or to attend games. So I think the level of impact we didn't actually realise as we were flying home, and actually the point of winning the gold medal. But the moment we did come home, it was just so humbling to see that we had changed not only the course of history, but the path of like netball as we move forward and the sport continues to grow.
I think as well, mentioning the best experience for me was the commitment from the whole of England. That was this netball fan to win, go on and win the BBC Sports Personality of the Year and be voted by the public for the greatest sport. Was absolutely a true credit to every single one of you. In respect to the lasting legacy, Sarah, what did that medal do for England netball?
Oh, listen, it's just catapulted not only the individuals' profiles of who actually competed at that games, but the whole organisation. But really netball out there in terms of the nation. I mean, so many people contacted me, people I didn't know, but predominantly a lot of males like, oh my God, this is an amazing sport. And I was like, I know. So I think it really, really, really it inspired so many people at different planes to ultimately put the sport of netball and yourself on a different plane. And it really, really has helped us kind of catapult to another level in terms of the organisation, the sport, also open board. Other sports coming to look at other sports about how we do things or how we've not done things. So it's just been a fantastic opportunity, and I think we'll continue in that guise going forward.
If lastly, and this is going to finish it, obviously this team will never probably be together again in history in that particular arena, in a particular environment, in a particular game. But if there was one thing that we could do as a team, what would it be?
Do it all again.
Trip to Vegas.
I liked, you know, when we lost to Swifts and Giants, like before we actually went to the Commonwealth Games, and then we went on the boat in Sydney. I remember that really clearly, and just resetting and having a good time. And yeah, I think it reinforced that we are actually a family and that we enjoy each other's company off the court. And yeah, just jumping into the water and having a good time before we even went to the games, that kind of sticks with me.
Anything else from anyone else?
Just see each other again and do whatever it is. I know obviously it's an odd time in the world right now when this is how you're forced to socialise, especially you guys that are actually in the UK, but just to see each other again and have the opportunity to go through this a bit more and chat about it, because this is obviously condensed, but we haven't had this opportunity and it has been 2 years, and these are the things that will bring up the memories and jog things that we completely forgot about or we weren't privy to because we were separated in different rooms. And like, I know just talking about it, I'm emotional. I've got my gold medal here just chilling with me, you know. But like, just to get together, maybe have some bevies, you know.
Yeah, boy.
Vegas, never.
And hugs, lots of hugs. Bob, did you say Vegas?
Yeah, I just thought maybe it might be a mutual central meeting point for everybody.
Vegas, Vegas, Vegas,
Vegas, Vegas,
Vegas.
Make it happen, Sarah. 5-year reunion.
Get babysitters for all the people that have had their babies.
There'll be no babies in Vegas, Chelsea. All right, no
babysitters.
Lastly, whoever's got your medal, do you want to flash the screen?
Oh, I haven't got mine.
Oh, the bar.
Hey, I sleep with this thing.
Did someone take a picture of the laptop with everyone on it?
Yeah.
Who's taking it?
I'll take one and then.
Oh, Sarah's taking it.
Good to see ya.
Miss you guys.
Thanks,
you. Virtual hugs.
This was fun.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye, Pete.
Bye.
Oh,